Babe, give me a sec. Bring me actually your phone. Your phone.
Team deathmatch. Weapons free, people. Lay some hate on them. We got the lead. Now hold it. Nice. We're pulling ahead. Damn it, we've lost the lead. This shit ain't working. We've lost the advantage.
Hostile spotted.
Lead done.
Splash. Five down. Prime and Semtex. Sending frag.
There's no way, man. I don't understand that.
Neutralized. Remember me?
Oh, from behind. Oh.
We've taken control.
Deploying trophy.
Enemy destroyed the trophy system.
You're falling
Why did I
behind.
switch weapons? I don't know. That's a little bug.
Threat.
He died.
That's a kill.
What? I don't believe this, man. It's like the appearing like it's right there.
Hostile shooter.
Uh, it's long. I don't know if like I'm not killing like they do. What's this guy doing back here?
Your trophy system is out of ammunition.
RCXD rolling out. We have the edge, but don't
Sighting
get
in.
cocky. This shit ain't over.
Damn, that's me.
Always from behind. How do I know?
Sending the Semtex.
Bravo fucking Zulu, Black Ops.
We have a lot of console settings to go over for Black Ops 6, but the nice part is that you do get this nice little training area where you can mess around with a lot of things. We're going to be able to go over the different graphic settings, interface, which is very important when it comes to the HUD, and then controller settings so you know how to auto attack sprint if you still want to do that, and be able to ease into the Omni movement. So one of the first things I wanted to show off was the interface, because it has a few different options that you want to go and cover. But the one that I really wanted to point out was this HUD preset section, because initially it looks like not much is going on. But when you actually click this, in this mode, you can actually go through and you can visualize what it's going to look like on the actual HUD instead of just selecting it through a menu. Super helpful. You can also go ahead and change the colors of the interface altogether. So maybe you want to go ahead and use one of these different color blindness settings, or you want to go ahead and use a custom one. On top of that, you can also change different things like the minimap shape, which traditionally we go with the square just because it offers more visible area. You can get rid of the compass if you want to go ahead and move that. If you want to move the compass to the top, you can do that. If you want to go ahead and turn it off entirely because you don't like it, or you want it with the minimap, you can go ahead and do that. You can also decide whether or not you want it to rotate or not. Right now, it's rotated. I'm looking directly straight. You can go ahead and swap that to your preference. Radar. If you don't really like the layout of the map and you just want to go ahead and kind of see it as general radar, you can do that. I don't really see much use cases for that, but you could do that. And then the nice part is if you want it bigger, you can actually increase the size of the minimap. And you'll be able to have that flexibility with that. Obviously, this is kind of the way I would go. It is a little bit finicky, as you can see there. And then you can even lower the opacity. Once you got your HUD set up, you're going to want to head over to display in the graphics area, go to safe area, and then you can actually bring in your HUD a little bit on the outside, and you can really play around with this so you don't have to look all the way to your corner of your screen to see that mini map or your ammo. Then for the interface, we also can do global or readability. We'll go ahead and start off global. We can kind of go through that. Some of these are just going to be preference. A lot of people don't like the tool tips, gameplay tips. You can turn a lot of that stuff off. If you want to skip the kill cam, you can do that as well. Latency, you can put that on to see if you're having some issues connecting or where you're connecting to. Packet loss, if you want the clock or the connection meter. And then readability is where you get another little boost, a little secret thing that I've included in all my videos when it comes to setting videos for console for a while now. And that is this color customization. Again, subtitles, if you want them off. Again, those are preferences. I won't spend too much time on that. But the color customization, you want it to look like this. Default, unless you have some color blindedness, you can play with those individual settings, preference. But when we get down here to this color filter settings, this will give you a little bit more saturations, give your colors a little bit more pop. Sometimes on PC, people use NVIDIA filters. This solves for a lot of that. You put it to filter 2, and then you go ahead and select the color filter target as both, which will include world and interface. And then the intensity, you'll bump that up from 75 up to 100. If you put this all the way at 0, it would look essentially black and white or something like that. But there it is. You get them both dialed in and it works for that. Next up is the graphics section. We'll generally start off with the display. If you have 120 hertz, you generally want that, especially for how fast the things move. Brightness will depend a lot on your monitor. And then the preset, I don't change that. I left it for efficiency. Quality, you're going to go ahead and turn off world motion blur, weapon motion blur. It adds to a little bit more blurriness in the game. Depth of field off. Fidelity cast, this is something you have a little bit of control on the sharpness of the game and the way that it looks in terms of clarity. You bump this on, and then you can go ahead and usually raise this up as high or as low as you want. But generally, that's just kind of how that part works. Also, it's probably a good time to remind you, if you enjoy the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're looking for more Black Ops 6 content. And then last but not least, we get into the controller settings. The base controller settings, you're going to choose the layout that makes the most sense for you. I have 2 paddles on my PS5 Edge. So back to that into it, I don't really do much other than flip triggers, which make it pretty easy. But if you need some other settings or you want to do a custom layout, you can change all of these various settings to make it a little bit easier. Some of the ones that have been popular in the past is tactical flip. So you can use your R3 as your drop shot button. That'd be your slide and also your dive. So you'd be able to work with that. L2 bumper jumper tactical. Those are a few. If you have other ones that you like in the comments, or if you play claw, that could be the other option. But you could really just pick what you like and what you enjoy. Stick layout preset, default. I've never actually even tried to use any of these other ones. Sensitivity, I have it kind of set up where it's at. It is going to be relative to your field of view. So if your field of view is higher, sometimes it might be worth lowering these. And this one will just get a feel how accurate you can be. If you're missing shots, you probably need to lower it down. We usually do horizontal 1 higher because of when you're spinning, you're using that more than your up and down, get a little bit more control over that. All the settings we're putting in is going to account for a lot of these. Swap triggers, that's what I said. I'm on a PS5 controller, so I can do that. If you're on Xbox, flip triggers just generally doesn't work. Vibration, we turn that off. Trigger effect off. Dead zones. This is one that I always get asked. They're like, well, what should I put my dead zones on? So what you do is you turn this on, and then what you're going to end up seeing is that when you move these joysticks, you can kind of see how much they move. On the bottom, you can kind of see the general, when I let them go, they shouldn't be moving. If they're moving a lot or they're like way over here, you might need a new controller, or you account for it with the dead zone modifier. In this particular case, I don't have much, so you'd either leave them at 0 or maybe even put up to 1 or 2. You'll kind of look at the numbers where they are on the X and the Y below those circles and get an idea. Left stick, we usually put this one a little bit lower so we can go ahead and get right into that sprint much quicker. You can see I'm only pushing it further, and then we're already at max pushing on that left one. So it gives us to make it feel just a little bit more responsive. Then we get into aiming. Here's the one where I don't know why they separated this one off from the controller section, but the ADS Sense Multiplier, normally I would play on a 6.5.8. If you had a point number next to it, some people play on 1, but if you had the 0.8, this is where you're gonna find it in the aiming, and then open that tab a little bit further. Inverted, that's a preference. Then we'll go ahead and tab into the advanced settings really quick. And here's where you're gonna get your response curve. You're pretty much just gonna switch it to dynamic. A lot of people do standard. Some people have a preference of linear. Whatever you've been using, I would stick with that. If you're not really sure where to start, dynamic is one of the most popular options. If you want to do custom zoom sensitivity, maybe use a lot of various optics, this is how you can do that. You switch it, open it up, and then you can switch the specific ones. I don't generally mess with these unless I'm deciding that, hey, I'm going to go into this long-term sniping grind, and then I'll adjust the sensitivity based off the optic I'm going to be using. And then target assist. Before, we used to have 3 different aim assists. We had standard, precision, and focusing, I believe. And they removed those other 2 to keep it a little bit simpler. And this matches more of like what we had in the aim assist in Cold War, where within those 3 meters, you lose some of that aim assist. So they've essentially nerfed it within Black Ops 6. Motion sense, this is more of like you're going to play with the gyro. Not really ideal unless just that's something you're used to. And here's where we get into the tactical sprint